Hey everyone, welcome back. We are back with some more Farm to Table. I'm Tamara Schubert, your Family Consumer Science Educator for NMSU and Chaves County Cooperative Extension. And our head chef is here.
I'm Drew Garnett. I'm the Chaves County Ag Agent and here in Chaves County.
And we are going from farm to the table. So we are breaking down a farm-raised rabbit today. And Drew, what are we making?
So we're actually going to be making, and I can't pronounce it correctly,
Catatori?
Catatori. So rabbit catatori. And so you can do this with chickens as well. So if you have some chicken laying around, you could do it as well. But we're going to make it with rabbit, which catatori actually refers to hunter or prepared the hunter's way in Italian. And so that's what we're going to be doing with this rabbit. And so this is a really good size farm-raised rabbit. It's got some excess fat here that we're going to go ahead and trim some of this off because we don't need that in our meal. What we're going to do is we're going to break this down into its leg quarters, and then because it is such a large farm-raised rabbit, we will break down the back portions into smaller pieces so that when we cook it, it's going to be nice portioned out and good portion size.
So if you had to equate this to a meat that we generally eat, is it similar to cooking chicken?
Yeah, so it is similar to cooking chicken. It is supposed to have a little bit sweeter flavor to it than chicken. Again, it is a little bit more of a red meat, but you're going to be breaking it down. If you've ever done any hunting and you've broken down a deer or you've broken down some other large game animal, this is just a smaller version. And so you really get the same thing. You have back straps here along the back. You've got your hams and you've got your front shoulders. And then inside you do have some small tenderloins. But again, we're going to break this up and piecemeal it out and cook it with the bone in. And so what we're going to go ahead and do right now is we're going to go ahead and start on these front shoulders. And we're just going to follow right along the inside here. And if you haven't ever broken down game, you're going to realize that the front shoulder is really loosely held on. And it doesn't take a whole lot of pressure or a whole lot of time before you have that leg broken down and off. And so it's really nice, quick, and easy right there. And then you're going to feel that there's actually still a ton of meat right here over the ribs here. And so if you wanted to do a rabbit tomahawk chop, you could do that right here, but don't expect it to be a giant. So then I'm going to come over here to the other shoulder. And so really I'm almost pulling away more with that shoulder and just slightly letting it kind of pull away on its own.
So are these done at this point, Drew, or is there another section that is typically taken?
You can be done right here, or what we're probably going to do here in a minute, I just want to break down the rest of the rabbit, is we're probably going to come in here and break this portion. That way we get two nice meal portions out of this portion of the rabbit. Because this is such a large rabbit, if you were using wild rabbits that maybe you went out and did some rabbit hunting, you're going to have a much smaller rabbit. It's not going to be quite as meaty, so you probably wouldn't be breaking it down at that point. But since this is a farm-raised rabbit and it's been fed really well and good genetics, we're going to go ahead and break those down. That way we can get more portions out of it. And so then on this back end, I'm really just going to be adding pressure initially.
What can I help you with?
Oh, you're good. You're good. And so I'm just going to be pushing these hams, these hindquarters apart from each other. And then I'm going to be pushing down and kind of following that hip bone out until I can break down. I'm going to come to this front section where it connects with the main body. And I'm going to follow it back. And there is just a nice little bone that is just a socket. And so once we get here, I will just cut down to that socket. And I don't know if you heard that, but I just added pressure and it pops that socket off. Also, a very sharp knife is very helpful. And remember, a sharp knife is a safe knife, so definitely be careful. You could also break this down using game shears or large heavy-duty scissors, that can help you break down this. And we'll probably break down this hind quarter as well, because that's a big
one.
Healthy chunk of meat right there. So then we have our other hind quarter right there. So now for this back portion, we're going to go ahead. You have the body cavity here. We're going to actually cut right behind these ribs and kind of flay this out a little bit. Over here. All I'm going to do is just break through that spinal column there.
He's done that a time or two, apparently.
Wow, once or twice. So this we could break down a little bit more, and we probably will here in a minute, but what I'm going to focus on is the rest of the back end of this. So here we have our spinal column running into the tail end right here. We had our hindquarters, and you can just see how much meat is really on this out here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to divide this up into more portion-friendly sizes. Just the way I broke through that spine, we're going to do it again.
So do you keep this stuff that's off the edge, Drew, or just the stuff that's on the back?
That's good eating right there. I mean, that's essentially your rib meat and what would be the skirt steak on any other animal. And so this is actually a very healthy one. Good and meaty. In some of your wild rabbits, you probably aren't going to have as much there. It's going to be real paper thin. And so you may not keep it in that situation. But because this is a farm-raised rabbit, you get a lot more meat on that because of the healthy diet that it was getting. And so we're going to try and do that as well. And honestly, what we're probably going to do is we're going to divide this, and then we'll cut down that spine again in order to break through. So if you got a good butcher's knife, because we are cutting through so much bone right now, this is a good time to use it. Yes. Just like that. That broke off nice and easy. And again, what I'm going to do here now, so I have this portion, we got a little bit of spine, we've got nice meat right here, we've got these little wings, and all I'm going to do now is come right in the middle and split that. And so now, instead of one chunk, we've got two, and these are nice little portioned out pieces that are going to cook really quickly, nice and easily within our meal. And we're going to do that one more time. And so if you end up with any little, just feel around if you've got where you cut that spine, if you've got some little bone pieces, just go ahead and cut them out. That rabbit is pretty well broken down. Right there.
So I would say if I'm doing this at home, this looks like a chicken thigh.
Yes.
And I would take and wrap this and stuff him with something, y'all.
You definitely could. And this is the thing, you know, we've been showcasing, we duck last time, now we're going with rabbit. These are less utilized here in the United States, but around the world, these are very common food. It's very nutritious for you. Mostly lean. This one, just because of how it was fed, it does have a good fat cap on it. And so we did trim some of that off, but a lot of that fat is going to add a lot of really good flavor to your dish. And so now we're at this kind of ribs and neck portion. And we could end up using this for stock if we wanted to, or we can break it down and add it into the meal because there is still a lot of really good meat on this. There is also quite a bit of fat here up around the neck, so we're going to go ahead and trim some of this off. So we're going to come down the sternum And it's really thin, so you can usually cut through it real easily. Game shears really help in this situation. And I forgot to bring mine. So I'm going to go ahead and come back here, see if I can't get this neck out. That was nice and easy. So now we've divided the rib cage from the neck portion up here. Clean out some of this. And you can see the ribs on the inside, so you just kind of come right in between some ribs in order to divide this and break it open. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did on the others. So we're going to cut around that meat and around those ribs. Now we've got a little rib portion. And so just remember, you are going to have these bones in these portions here with the rib. And we can divide it down the center if we wanted to, which I'm going to go ahead. I guess I should be putting that in front of what I'm doing. So all I'm going to do, again,
I'm going to get you another tray. He's going at it.
Mm-hmm. So now we've got those nicely divided. I kind of like piling it up like this. It showcases how much meat is actually on.
There is a lot of meat on that.
So, one rabbit is a lot of meat here. And so we're going to be eating really, really well. So I'm just going to come in here. Now we just divided that rib section up into some smaller pieces. And the way we're going to be cooking this, it's going to be kind of a braise. So this meat will be falling off the bone. But if you are going to keep the ribs within this cook process, you just want to remember that those little rib bones could be in there. So always watch out as you cook through. And if we want, we could throw this neck piece in there, or we can roast this, use it for stock. Same thing with this tail end and the hips. There's a little bit of meat in here, but really there's a lot of big bone in there. And so we're not probably going to use that portion, but this will make great stock. And so you just roast it and then throw a bunch of veggies, water, and this in there together. And then you're going to have some delicious stock that comes right out of your crock pot. So make sure you don't waste any of this when you are doing this. So we're going to go ahead and find those leg pieces. And again, these are giant pieces right here. This is a big, beautiful, healthy rabbit. So we're going to go ahead and break it down. And that's going to help just with portion sizes as we go through. And so what I'm doing here is when you look at the inside of this leg, there's going to be a line of connection right here that you can see, and you can really just cut right down that. And you're going to get it flayed open like this. And then honestly, I'm just going to come in underneath to the side of that bone that's right there and cut that off. And so this is going to be a little boneless portion, but it's a nice big meaty portion. And then you've got a nice smaller leg. And if we wanted to break it down more, we could take the shank off if we wanted to. But just because of how small the shanks are on a rabbit anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave that on there. And this is going to be delicious.
I think that one's the front leg.
And so now we've got this front leg here. And what you have is a flat shoulder blade. And then it comes down into the leg itself. And that's what we're going to divide in this portion right here. So we're going to come right underneath that shoulder blade. And we're going to get down to that joint where it meets. And the rabbit, being nice and small, should just pop because you've got another ball socket there. And we're just going to cut right around that to remove all that connective tissue. And now we've got two good portion size pieces of rabbit right here. And if you look at this pile, this is one farm-raised rabbit. This is a lot of meat. This is a lot of meat. We're going to be eating really, really well today. And so I'm extremely excited about this. This is going to be a great meal. We have some bones and flavor for a beautiful broth. This fat, if you want to do something with it, I'm sure you could. I'm probably not going to do anything with it, but there's not a whole lot there anyway. And so if you're breaking down a ton of rabbits, maybe you're going to pile up some of that fat, and you could do hamburger for your rabbit. So you could do rabbit hamburgers, I guess.
Add that fat back in for the moisture in the ground.
But then you're going to debone everything and then grind it if you wanted to. I've never done it, but it is something you potentially could do. And so just look at how much meat is really on that tray right there. Now, that is a ton of meat, one rabbit. That is one farm-raised rabbit. And so I hope you're as impressed as I am with how much meat comes off one rabbit. This is a great source of protein and a really underutilized food source that we have here in the United States. So I hope you'll use it. And we're going to go ahead and get this seasoned up with salt and pepper, and then we'll bring you back once we start searing it up.